Hopefully you're fastening your seatbelts for the next 2 hours.
Right.
That's nonsense, Clint. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you buy.
That's nonsense.
My feeling.
You're not just buying a racetrack. You're buying a piece of American racing history right there. I mean, that's huge. The history behind the track, just mind-boggling.
You hear a lot of rumors in the rumor mill. I'll just keep tuning in to you guys to hear the truth when we come down to it. So
don't do that. I've already had one dose of tin hat syndrome today. I don't need a second one.
Stuart Friesen said to Brett, he says, "Why don't you bring us to more places like this?" And Brett goes, "There isn't any other place like this."
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Coming to you live from the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now, your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Yeah, boys. Tuesday night, 7:30, ready to rock and roll here with Turn 5 Live, right here on our home at the Performance Motorsports Network. I'll tell you, boys, I'm standing up. I am excited for tonight. Apparently I've made enough noise here during our intro that I've awoken the dog upstairs. So apologize for any of the barking chatter you may hear in the background. But, man, I am just jacked up for tonight's program. We have got 3 awesome interviews lined up tonight. And, you know, one thing that we love doing this show for is getting to talk to guys that you don't hear from every week. You know, they're not guys that are necessarily making headlines every weekend or winning, you know, piles and piles of races, but these are guys that are out there fighting the good fight every single week, whether it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Doesn't matter what night of the week they race. I mean, heck, most of these guys race all 3 nights of the week if they could. But we've really got some good stuff planned for you tonight. We've got recorded interviews from this past weekend. We're going to hear from Brad Smith, driver of the IMCA at number 76. He drives a lethal chassis, runs his own shop, and hauls a good distance to come and race at Outlaw Speedway on Friday nights. Had a great interview with Brad Friday afternoon, so we'll be airing that for you in a little bit. After that, we'll also hear from another driver that has been awfully fast in his number 6 4-cylinder, has yet to break into victory lane since moving up to the adult division, but we're going to hear from Zach Teed after that at 8:15 tonight. And then at 8:30, we've got a live interview scheduled with IMCA competitor and winner of the last 2 features in a row for the Farmers Insurance IMCA Modifieds, none other than Shawn Bruce out of Troy, Pennsylvania, who returned to racing in 2016 at the request of his boys and family that, they all race together, and they have already picked up 3 feature wins in their return year to the IMCA ranks and has built themselves into a points battle with Brad Smith after Friday night's action, after they picked up the win, and Brad coming home with another top 5 finish. So those guys have got themselves locked into a points battle that's going to take us right through our summer stretch here this summer. So going to be a lot of fun to catch up with those guys. Clint, I'll start with you tonight. Boy, just a great weekend of racing. I mean, Woodhull and Outlaw, you couldn't have had closer finishes in the modified division. It was just a spectacular weekend.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, obviously we'll get into those in a little bit, but Billy Van Pelt involved in both of them. Stellar weekend, 4th of July, 85 degrees Friday, Saturday. You really couldn't ask for a better weekend of racing on one of the most important weekends of the year. Happy birthday, America.
Yeah, America. You got that right. So, Clint, tell us about your 4th of July plans. How did you spend Independence Day?
I spent Independence Day here with my kids. We just hung out at the house, ordered some pizza, had just chilled out, had a good time. Had a wedding to go to on Saturday, so that was kind of my weekend. Just dull and just like I like it.
There you go. There you go. How about you, Brad? Brad Ovens joining us, a co-host here on Turn 5 Live and also race official with the CRSA 305 Sprint Tour. Brad, how was your Independence Day weekend?
It was interesting. We spent a lot of the day Friday on the road traveling to get rained out about 45 minutes from the racetrack we were going to, so got to spend some quality time with a group at the hotel in Binghamton, but, that's kind of one of those things that I like the most about being out on the road traveling is the time spent with everybody that has kind of become our work family. So that was fun. Had a lot of good racing come Saturday night, along with some other kind of little burps and hiccups here and there. But all in all, it was a good weekend. Good weekend of racing. A lot of sprint car racing went on this past week, and you can't go wrong with the wings.
How about your Independence Day? How did you get to spend the day off that day?
Yeah, it was kind of strange. It was a Monday, so I was kind of in that work mode, but I still got the extra day off. So that was kind of nice to have that extra day off to actually get a full day of rest and relaxation.
Well, boys, certainly a lot happening this past weekend with all the action at Outlaw Speedway, Woodhull Raceway. We've got results coming in from the Hill Speedway, as well as Canandaigua Motorsports Park. There was also a Super Dirt Car Series event on this past Thursday that Clint and I both attended, and we'll talk about that as well. And actually, Clint, I guess we might as well start there. Kind of go chronologically for the week. And, Clint, I'm going to start off the show with a congratulations. Tip of the cap to you, picking the race winner. If it wasn't going to be Matt Shepard, it was Tim Fuller. So congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't know. I just had a feeling I might have even picked Fuller anyway. There was just something, I just had that feeling. Whether it was, he ran good at Williams Grove and got beat, or winning Saturday night at Canandaigua, and just seems to be getting faster and faster for Dave Rouser and company. And he did just what you have to do. He rode around in second place, said that he wasn't going to be able to catch Matt on the short run, so he just kind of conserved the right rear tire. And then when they got late in the race, they got in lap traffic. Matt's car got tight, and Fuller was able to drive right around him. It was great.
Yeah, extra distance show. So 64 lap feature event there on this past Thursday night, and yeah, I mean Shepard had a strong car. I mean he was one of your top qualifiers, won his heat race, had a great draw, and it was. You could see it. As soon as he hit lap traffic, Clint, it was like they flipped a switch. And, I think, like Matt said afterwards, they were just a tick off. And when you're racing against the best in the Super Dirt Car Series and a guy like Tim Fuller, who races at Canandaigua weekly, if you're a tick off, you might as well be a mile off.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing that Matt said during his interview. He's like, we were too good early. And,
yeah.
And it definitely showed, because I think he had a 3 or 4 or 5 second lead at one time, like I said, early in the race. And, but as the laps got clicked off, once they got going, because they had some trouble getting going there for a while, but once they got going, you could definitely see it.
So your top 10 from the Super Dirt Car Series at Canandaigua was Tim Fuller, Matt Shepard, Billy Decker, charged from the back to the front. As Billy said afterwards, the driver didn't do a good job qualifying. His time trial lap and then where they finished in the heat race put him deep in the field. So Decker came home with third, Stuart Friesen fourth to help him keep pace with Shepard in the point race. Peter Britton, boy, what a run that guy's been on. 5th place on Thursday night, takes the victory on Saturday night at Canandaigua, so they've been on quite a roll. 6 through 10 was Brett Hearn, Robbie Bellinger, Justin Hares, Larry White. Surprising, Larry White in 9th. Battled Matt Shepard for the win last year in this race, and really wasn't a factor all night long. Finished in the 9th place. And rounding out the top 10 was Jimmy Phelps. Phelps, again, another driver that just really never played a factor all night long, which was kind of surprising to see out of that HBR 98H. Then in the Empire Super Sprints, we're going to go over a full recap of CNY Speed Week for the Empire Super Sprints, but Matt Tanner getting a big win, and a topic that we're going to talk about during our sprint car segment, guys. But Clint, I wanted to get you in on this. I know that you won't be with us for the entire program tonight, but before we go to break, Clint, your take on the contact between Tanner and Jonathan Preston late in that event. That could have been disaster for Tanner trying to get the win.
It sure could have been, and it was almost disaster for Preston as he got into the fence. But it's really, in my opinion, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, yes, the passing flag is out, and you have to respect the leaders. But your job also as a driver is to get as many positions as you can. And if I remember right, there was 3 or 4 lap cars right there that that Preston was trying to get around, and Tanner was trying to get through. And it's really a tough decision you make as a driver to just back out of the throttle and let everybody go and then race after the leader goes, or if you think you got it and you can pass those guys now, it's a tough call. I can see both sides of it.
Brad, I wanted to bring you in on this too because I was curious with your experience working for a sanctioning series for the 305 sprints anyway. What do you guys have a standing rule on lap cars? Do they just tell them to follow the line? Does the flagman point them where to go? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it's just basically pretty much like any other short track. The lap cars will get shown the lap flag, and it's your job to hold your line. They don't tell them to go any specific direction. Just hold the line that you're running and let the lead lap cars have to work around you instead of having to worry about where you're going.
And we'll close as we get ready to go to our first break here. We'll close with this. Brad, your opinion, kind of a yes-no question here. Do you agree with holding the line, or would you, if you were the leader, would you rather the lap car be pointed one direction or the other?
Hold the line.
How about you, Clint?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Hold your line. If you're running the outside, stay on the outside, because who knows, if you're running the bottom the whole race and then all of a sudden you have to move to the outside, you don't know what your car is going to do up there. It could make a bigger mess.
Good points, guys. Good points. Good opening segment here on Turn 5 Live. When we come back, we've got more results from Outlaw Speedway, and then we'll hear from Brad Smith during our 8 o'clock segment here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi race fans, this is Kelly Hebing and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program tonight, and we are off to our first set of results for the night. DB Miles Insurance Agency presenting the racing action at the Outlaw Speedway on Friday night, their annual fireworks spectacular. And it's interesting. Wow. I actually, before we get into that outlaw stuff, Clint, you actually got some news for us. What do you got, man?
Yeah, I've been following one of our media buddies, Mike Mallet, and I was just noticing that Matt Shepard didn't make the trip to Brett Hearn's big show down at Accord. I didn't know. I figured he'd be there.
Oh, actually, the big show is tomorrow.
Okay, is this a Deo show?
Yeah, the Accord show is a Deo show.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
My bad.
when you sent that message, I thought, wow, that is surprising, the Shepherd not at a series race. But yeah, no, so tonight is Battle of the Bull Ring at Accord, and that's a short track Super Series event.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing that the Hansel 357, they didn't make the trip up from PA. Or maybe they've got another driver in the car, because they do swap seats around a little bit with that team, and they really put some potent drivers in behind the wheel of their cars. And
Always, they don't lack for anything. That's for sure.
No, and we'll talk about Matt Shepard in a little bit on the program, because I know there's been a lot of buzz about his decision to leave Brewerton full time. And we'll have our chance a little bit later on to talk all about that, because that was certainly a newsmaker this past week. But getting into the results from the Outlaw Speedway on Friday night, again, DB Miles Insurance Agency night, and picking up the win in the Friendly Dodge and Ford Modified Division, 18 cars, 30 laps the distance. Ron Cartwright Jr. got a second win of the season by 0.158 seconds over Billy Van Pelt. And, Clint, you want to talk about a close finish. I had to wait for the race monitor to come up before I said anything over the microphone, because I literally did not know who was going to win that race.
Yeah, it was, we were sitting in turn 2 in the pits. It sure looked like it was a barn burner coming down. I wish Billy had tried to go to the bottom about 2 laps sooner, and he had a couple more laps to work down there, because he really made up some serious ground on Cartwright. Serious ground.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it looked as though maybe Cartwright's tires had gone away, but then just as Billy would get up alongside him, it seemed like they were pretty even coming off the corner.
Yeah, in all fairness, it sure looked like Billy was blowing up the last 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right about that.
I don't even know how it stayed together. If that was the issue, if it was a motor issue, and you may have more about that than I do. But it sure looked like, he was blowing antifreeze out the last 6-7 laps, and I'm surprised it stayed together.
Yeah, so I talked to those guys in the pit area on Saturday at Woodhall, and I talked to Dwayne Groover as Billy was actually doing some setup chat with a young driver, from one of the sportsman teams, and you want to talk about the kind of guy Billy is. Everybody at Woodhall you talk to says if you've got issues with your setup, trying to get something figured out, as Kenny Peoples Jr. put it, you go to the Deuce. So he was having a teaching moment there on Saturday. So I was talking to Dwayne, and Dwayne told me that the water pump had like come loose, I guess, from the engine wherever it mounts. They're not sure if they have an issue with the water pump, because they had an issue with the water pump a couple weeks ago on that same car. So they're thinking that it was an issue with the water pump, and Dwayne actually said he was surprised that motor lasted as long as it did, with as loose as the water pump was, and that was where all the fluid was coming from.
Gotcha.
So, and after you saw some of that smoke, that all made sense to me, because, boy, I don't know about you, but I was thinking worse than that on Friday night.
Yeah, I was thinking, here we go, Billy's in line to challenge for another win, and something bad, something else is going to happen, but it stayed together for him.
It did. He came home second. Alan Johnson, another third-place run for AJ Slideways, and it moves him up into the points. Now in the third spot, just 12 points behind Tyler Seary for second. So keep your eye on Alan Johnson. He is starting to make his midsummer charge through the field. Donnie Lawson and Derek Pozziadlo. How about it for D-Pods? Give a tip of the cap to D-Pods. Another top 5 finish at Outlaw Speedway. And it seems like we've said that week after week.
And I had actually talked to D-Pods before, or when they were doing track prep, I think actually before the Street Stock feature started, I think I was talking to him, and we were talking about Canandaigua and about how poor he's been over there, and he's just, he's chasing the ghost over there, and same car, same everything, and he can't get it to go in a circle. And he said, and that's kind of unfortunately led over to tonight. He said he was very unhappy with the car, and they made some changes, and he didn't know what to expect. Well, they did pretty well Friday night.
Oh, they did for sure. I mean, he came from the last starting spot on the outside of row number 9, and him and Brady Foltz, who finished 6th, both made their way up through the field in quick order. It was fun to watch them claw their way up through the field. Corey Costa was 7th, Lee Bills 8th, Gary Tompkins 9th, Tyler Seary the top 10. And I want to give a call to Steve Payne, who finished 11th with the left side of the car missing. Got into an accident, into a jingle early on, came into the pits. They ripped the left side of the car off from the quarter panel and the sail panel, and he finished right behind the guy chasing him in points. And I will point to this night, guys, for the rest of the season. If Steve Payne wins the championship this season and it comes down to a close point battle, remember this night as being the night that they probably saved themselves a championship. Because if he hadn't finished, he probably would have lost all of the point lead that he has. So keep this night in mind as we move forward into the summer stretch. Heat race winners Ron Cartwright Jr., Jordan Seary, and Tyler Seary. In the Crate Sportsman, boy, this team's been on fire here the last month or so, and it was a great thing to see. The Jackson boys, Mike picking up his second win there on Friday night and just pulled away at the end of that one to pick up his second win of the season. Tommy Collins Jr., another strong top 5 run, second place for Collins Jr., and now he pulls himself into a tie for the point lead with Dale Welty. So how about it for Tommy Collins? Zach Ziegenhagen third, Ross Fleck fourth, Lauren Lincoln the top 5, 6 through 10, Chris Fisher, Brett Buno, A.J. Lloyd, Dale Welty, and Stacy Jackson. And how about that run both for Collins Jr., Clint, and Mike Jackson? I mean, the Jackson boys, they've just been on a tear here of late.
Yeah, they got their crate stuff figured out. There's no doubt about it. And, this Tommy Collins guy, I had never heard of him till he came, till he started racing with us at Outlaw. I don't know how long he's been racing, where his normal home track was, but man, this kid can wheel. He just seems to always be in the top 5 every week, and it doesn't matter where he goes.
Well, if you're not sure all of the details about Tommy Collins Jr., go to outlawspeedwayllc.com, and our media intern, Beth Marcel, did a driver profile on Collins this past week, and it's up on the website.
Aha.
So outlawspeedwayllc.com, you can hear all about Tommy's driving career and all the plans they have for this season. And also of note, he picked up a big win at Thunder Mountain on Saturday night. So that team really has a lot of momentum behind them. And now they take a tie for the point lead. So that's going to be fun to watch those guys as again, we get into this late summer stretch of races. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how everything shakes out. Farmers Insurance IMCA Modifieds, still 12 cars for a car count. And again, being that the Hill Speedway is open and racing now, I still say 12 cars is a very respectable number. Yeah, based on the fact that there's now 3 local tracks on Fridays that these guys can go race at, sanctioned or not. And, still a nice count of 12 there on Friday night. Shawn Bruce, 3rd win of the season. We're going to talk to him tonight at 8:30 p.m., just about 30 minutes from now. So stay tuned for that. We're going to ask Shawn about his driving career as well as the stretch they've been on here the last, really all season when he put it all together. Brad Smith, we're going to talk to him next here on Turn 5 Live. He came home with a second-place effort on Friday night. Will Ward made a rare appearance at Outlaw with a couple of local rainouts. Will Ward joined the fray on Friday night, finished 3rd. Scott Sebring, another good top 5 for him, finishing in 4th. Brandon Smith, the top 5. 6 or 10 was Phil Yaw, Jesse Velez, Sparky Hills, Bruce Tinsley, and Jeff Austin. Creekside Entertainment Street Stocks, 18 cars, 20 laps the distance. Laverne Knickerbocker, 2nd win of the season with a daring move in turns 3 and 4, just riding the cushion right around Chuck Winslow. And not a lot of street stock drivers can say they've done that this year. But that was a great race. Though any of the top 5 cars could have won that race on Friday night. C.J. Guerry was 3rd, John Carpenter 4th, Gene Sharpstein the top 5, J.J. Kreidler, Gene Balmer, Jeremy Trank, Nate Daggett, and Cody Nielsen rounded out the top 10 finishers. Guys, we're going to step aside here. When we come back, we'll finish out the rest of the results from Outlaw Speedway. Then we'll hear from Brad Smith, driver of the IMCA Modified, number 76. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of grassroots racing.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Yan, Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan, right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. you want to ask for Sue.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi race fans, this is Nick Cooper and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. All the gang joining you here tonight. Stephen and Brad Ovens, Clint Miller here on the program, and we're going to wrap up with the Outlaw Speedway results. Then we're going to hear from Brad Smith, driver of the number 76 IMCA Modified at Outlaw Speedway and Skyline Raceway. Four-cylinder division from Friday night. 24 cars in attendance. Scott Bradley, not only did he pick up his first win of the season, it was his first win since the changed over to Outlaw Speedway, and he also took the point lead in the four-cylinder division. So a big, big night for Scott Bradley in that 23 car. He was the 2014 track champion of the division, trying to go for his second career championship. J.J. Kreidler, good run there for second. Del Cummings third. Brad Rathbun Jr., I feel like we've been calling that 91 car every week in the top 5 here lately. And unfortunately, he missed a couple of races there at the beginning, or else he'd be right there battling with these guys for the point lead. But he's still clawing his way up through the field. Just going to have to do it the hard way, climbing up through the points. Craig Mart, how about it for that old grocery getter? The first front-wheel drive across the line in 5th there Friday night.
Yeah, old Quicksilver out there in 5th spot. Imagine that. I got to tell you, that he had the kids name the car because it was mine, and that's what they came up with. And it was really neat to see that out there running with those guys up towards the top 5.
Yeah, he had a good setup underneath it there on Friday night. Dan Smart, who's also trying to climb his way back into the point race, finished in the 6th spot. Scott Lehman and Derek Purrier, the teammates, finished 7th and 8th. Erica Bell, who came into the event as the point leader, finished 9th and now trails Scott Bradley by just a couple of markers in the point race. And Billy Bowers rounded out your top 10 finishers. So that was the four-cylinder division there from Friday night. And in the winner's circle, Delhi Bandits, this young driver here, Jordan Bacon, 13 years old, and picked up his first career Outlaw Speedway win. His interview stole the show on Friday night, his first win, and stole the hearts of all the fans in attendance there on Friday night, that's for sure. Stephen Perkins III finished 2nd and will take over the point lead. Matt Irwin, Joey Clark, and Austin Labar rounded out the field. As we said, we caught up with Brad Smith this past weekend at Outlaw Speedway. He drives the IMCA Modified number 76 in the Farmers Insurance IMCA Modifieds. He also races at Skyline Raceway. We caught up with Brad to talk about his 2016 season and why he still races in the IMCA Modifieds. Turn 5 Live out here at Outlaw Speedway. Friday night racing action. Fireworks on tap tonight, and another fan request to have an interview here on the show. Brad Smith, driver of the IMCA number 76. Brad, talk to us about what we're thinking going into tonight.
Oh, there's a lot of thoughts going in tonight, Steve. You got a point battle, you got a nice sunny day, you got fireworks, but changed a lot on the car. Looking for a good turnout and some great fireworks tonight.
Talk to us about the season so far. This was a car that you debuted late in the season last year, right?
Yeah, that's a brand new Lethal chassis that I debuted at the very last race last season, right before I left for Iowa for Super Nationals to go out there and race for a week. I got it out and went out to Iowa with it and came back, and it wasn't too bad. I learned a lot out in Iowa. I don't know if it was just a car or the great racing they have out there, but I really learned a lot. And then this season we've been running up and down with it.
Yeah. And you got a win earlier on in the season at Skyline, and something that I thought was really cool was, you've got the picture of the trophy and everything, and then the guys that build these cars, they're pretty well known in the racing industry. They recognize that win as well. That had to have been pretty cool.
Yeah, it really was, to hit the Lethal website of Lethal Chassis, and former NASCAR driver David Stremme, the one that builds them. Get a lot of recognition, out of him. He's really well known, and he helps me a lot. I can't say enough good about them guys. They help me. If I were to call him right now, he'd pick up the phone if he was at dinner with his wife and help me out. I mean, they're really great people.
And for a guy that has been so heavily involved in the NASCAR world, I mean, he's gotten right into the dirt racing. They've got their own little podcast show and everything. So, for a guy that's typically well known as a NASCAR guy, pretty cool to see him involved in all the dirt stuff.
It really is really good to see a lot of these guys, and absolutely more and more are popping up now that I've been noticing. Next weekend I race and rub some paint with Kenny Schrader up at Skyline, and Kenny Wallace runs the modified style car, runs IMCA's too. There's quite a few of these big name guys that running dirt, coming from the NASCAR world back into the dirt world.
Now, a couple weeks ago, we had a driver profile on the Outlaw website, and folks got to learn a little bit more about your history in racing and things like that. You come from a pretty good distance away to come race here on Fridays.
Yeah, I own Smith Auto Centers in Horseheads, and that's where my race shop is, and that's where I keep the car. But I do live in Troy, and I travel to Horseheads every day to work, and that's really where I come out of to go racing, is out of Troy. Come up to the shop and get the car and come up if we're not working. If it's a day without work, that's where I got to haul from. But yeah, I've been involved in the racing ever since I was a kid.
What did you start out with? We hear a lot of drivers start out in go-karts, but where did you start out?
Actually, I did it a little backwards.
Okay.
I helped some guys in pure stock, street stock, Ernie Martin, Kurt Spalding. Helped them guys out for several years, and got my feet wet, got oriented into the racing and the pits and the operations. And after that, I went into a pure stock, and I started with a pure stock. And when I sold that, that's when I got into the go-kart. I went backwards a little bit, but...
Well, I mean, if you look, 10, 20 years, I mean, back in the day, that was how you started. You started with the pure stock.
It was. I mean, I wasn't aware of all the go-kart tracks that were available back then. That's why I started with the pure stock. And I totally honestly, I didn't know of the competition in the go-karts that was there until I got into the go-karts, and I realized that it was quite competitive, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And, my brother and I raced go-karts, and when we were getting out of it and into the four-cylinder cars, I mean, it was shocking to see that, the budget was kind of the same. I mean, we could even do a little bit better with the four-cylinder.
Yeah, it's really shocking. The go-kart, I bought a brand new chassis for the go-kart, and I looked what I had into that thing, and I'm like, dang, that's a lot of money into a go-kart. I couldn't believe I had that much money into it. Yeah. But yeah, you can pour some money into a go-kart in a short hurry.
Now, earlier, last week's show, toward the end of the show, we talked quite a bit about the Hill Speedway opening up, the Lamphere crew reopening that place, and with that track being close to where you're from, where you live, what's been the vibe from down that way now that they have a race under their belts?
My outlook on that, I guess, is they're just opening it up. They're not IMCA sanctioned yet, but all the other classes that are running there, they had a good turnout of cars, a good turnout of IMCAs. That's their featured class down there. Once they get sanctioned, I think that's going to change things. I'm not sure if it'll change things for me or not, but it might change things for some other drivers. But I want to see them get some weeks in, see how the track's managed, see how things work down there, see what their track prep, see what their calls, their ruling, the officiating, see how everything's done. I just don't want to jump in there and find a bad deal.
And does the point race here kind of dictate that for you as well?
It definitely does. Definitely, Steve. I'm running 2 nights a week right now, and going into tonight, I'm second in points, and I'm second at Skyline, and I think I'm fourth in the region. I think I'm fourth in the region, and towards the end of the year, that'll see where I am nationally.
Yeah.
But that really really a lot of why I run the IMCA is the contingencies and the points and the national sanction body that we're under. That's really why I run that over like a street stock or something where you just run for your weekly purse.
You know, it's interesting because I think when you talk about IMCA and the sanctioning, a lot of people talk about the sanctioning just strictly on rules, but for the teams and the drivers, those contingencies, that's a big deal.
Oh, it really is. It really makes a lot for me at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, where you finish, you come right down to the wire with a couple drivers, and at the end of the year, you're like, where am I going to finish? What contingencies could I get? Could I not get? Oh, what's going on?
Right.
And then, you hear from IMCA, and you show up, and there's a new nose sitting on your porch, and there's a set of cylinder heads sitting there another week, and you're like, must be I qualified for a few things. But
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. Good luck tonight. It has been a very tight point race here with this class, so I'm sure
I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be real interesting to follow here the rest of the season. And I'll tell you what, man, you've been so close, knocking right on the door.
I have. I've been really close, and I can feel it. And there's been a few weeks where my car's really been on, and I felt that. And then there's other weeks where the car's not just quite right, and I know that. And when I get second with that, I'm like, I finished pretty good with what I had. I knew I didn't have the car, so it's almost like, what do I want to say? You're chasing a ghost, or you're searching for that high that you once had, and you're really just chasing a ghost to get that perfect setup and get that baby rocking and rolling.
Now, one final question before we go here, and that would be, I got to ask about the late model, because I've seen some pictures of this crate late model that's sitting around.
Yeah, we got a crate late model back in the shop, and it's almost ready to go. And I've been working a lot of long nights on this IMCA car, and I'm just looking for a couple nights of freedom or a little break, and actually I'm thinking this holiday weekend might be the ticket. All right. And we got an all new car back there, and it's just missing a couple little trinket things to make her into the track.
Now, have you raced that car before?
I have not. That car's new to me this year over the winter.
Gotcha. Well, good luck tonight. Got to take care of business first here with the point race, but good luck to you.
Thanks. Appreciate talking with you.
All right, Brad Smith joining us here on Turn 5 Live, one of our driver interviews of the week here on the program out here at Outlaw Speedway. Well, there you have it. Brad Smith was fun spending some time with him, a driver that's had a pretty good season this year, and like I said, been knocking on the door trying to get a victory here in 2016, and the way they've been running, he is not far off from it, that's for sure. We'll step aside here when we come back. We'll talk about Brad's thoughts here on the program, and then we'll get into our second interview from Outlaw Speedway Friday night, talking with Zach Teed, driver of the 4-cylinder, number 6. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a
You
left.
are not going to
then
believe
what you're
this.
going to do is turn
Marcy
onto Marcy
and Brad just
Avenue
broke up,
and go past the
apparently
first 3
she's
lights,
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
Then
think
drive
she's
5 more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park
anyway,
on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is the voice, Shane Andrews of the Big Black Modified Super Dirt Car Series, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Yes, sir. The voice getting right up on the chip there, bringing us back from commercial break here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the show tonight, and we are talking dirt track racing tonight. We've got a couple of driver interviews, and coming up in our next segment in just about 15 minutes from now, we'll be talking to Shawn Bruce live here on Turn 5 Live. We'll have a phone interview with Shawn talking about his 3rd win of the season in the IMCA division at Outlaw Speedway and his driving career and what brought him back to racing here in 2016. I've heard the story several times, and for those that have not had a chance to hear the story, I think you're going to really, really enjoy that. But Clint, Brad Smith just got a great attitude toward racing and has really had a nice season behind the wheel of the 76 car.
Yeah, he really has. And one of the neat things that I like about that, Steve, is he's running a crate motor against, all those other guys that are out there with whatever they got. But I know a crate motor isn't too much of an option around here in those cars, but he seems to do okay with it. And I had to laugh. I said something to him last week that the front bumper didn't look so well after his foray with the Ute tire early in the evening, and it just kind of looked funny out there.
Yeah, he got that Uke tire a ton in the heat race, you
keep trying to tell these guys they don't move.
Well, now we got to take that back.
They do move, but it takes
because
a lot
I did see one move on Friday night. I saw one get airborne, in fact, and I'll tell you, I don't know what they've made the front end of Matt Mashesky's 17M out of, but I was amazed. And I'm sure that underneath the nose piece, there was probably some stuff that was bent up and everything. But as hard as he hit that Uke tire on Friday night in his heat race, I couldn't believe it didn't kill the front end of that car. So I wanted to say I want to give it to these guys that are building these cars to go out there and run, because there's a lot of them out there that have really taken some pretty hard shots, and they back up and they drive away and they keep right on going. They always praise the NASCAR guys, Clint, for having safe race cars and well-built race cars, but I'll tell you, there's some pretty well-built ones here on the local level, too.
I just got a text from Brad Smith, and it said, "Whew, them things are rugged."
Yeah, that they are. I don't know how rugged the front bumper was. That was in pretty rough shape. That front bumper might have been a write-off after Friday night.
Oh, it was a write-off. It was almost like straight down to the ground. I don't know how it wasn't hogging into the track when he was going over a bump or two.
I don't know that I might have to talk to Brad. That might be man cave material after Friday night. Yeah, nice bright orange bumper, but we'll see about that. Another driver we talked to, guys, on Friday night, and it was kind of cool to talk to this young driver. He's been racing at the Speedway for many years, both between the Bandit division for the youth as well as now in the adult four-cylinder division. And we had a request to hear from Zach Teed here on Turn 5 Live. We fulfilled that request, and now we bring you our interview with Zach Teed from Friday afternoon. Let's hear what he had to say about his 2016 season and about a problem they recently overcame behind the wheel of the number 6. Turn 5 Live on location here at Outlaw Speedway. You're going to bring another driver interview segment to you this week. This one coming off a fan request. Wanting to talk to the driver of the number 6 in the four-cylinder division. That is none other than Zach Teed. And Zach, we're here on a Friday night. Weather looks like it's going to cooperate here with us. Tell us, let's start off with, before we talk about this season, tell us a little bit of how you got started in racing. I mean, the Teed family's been synonymous with racing here at Dundee.
Well, the Teed family's always been racing. They've raced their whole lives. My great-grandfather, then my grandfather, then my dad, my uncle, now my cousin Allison, which is racing the number 14 street stock. My sister used to race, and she, after her go-kart, she just kind of got out of it, but we still got the car, so if she ever wants to jump back in it, she can. But, I mean, I've started when I was 5 years old. My dad, old enough to throw me in a go-kart.
Yeah.
Wasn't much more than 3 foot tall, and he threw me in a go-kart, so.
Now, you started, a lot of drivers, they start from go-karts, they come up, they have the opportunity to run in the Bandit division here as a youth. That go-kart, that entry level, I mean, the go-kart racing is so prominent in this area, whether you're up toward Geneva with Paradise or even down toward Woodhull. There's, 2 or 3 tracks down there racing go-karts. That's really how we're getting these younger drivers in the sport.
Yeah, and you get the track over in Trumansburg on Searsburg Road, Starlight. I started out in Paradise up in Geneva, and then about, I think I was like 10 or 11 when we started racing at Starlight over in Trumansburg, but he wanted me to get in the car, and so we built a car when I turned 12, and I was about halfway through the season when I was 12 years old when I started in a car, and just had it in my blood, I guess.
Talk to us about when you started in the big car here. How did that go for you? I'm sure that's a whole nother animal jumping up into the big car.
Actually, it's not bad. It's really the same. The only difference is a clutch.
Okay.
It's about the only same. If you get somebody to set the car up right for you, it'll handle just like a go-kart.
Yeah. Talk to us about, let's transition out of this season. I know that a couple weeks we were just talking here that you guys had some bad luck a couple weeks ago, but prior to that, I mean, this car has had some really good runs up front before you guys encountered the bad luck.
Well, this car's also 8 years old. Well, 9 now. It's 9 years old. I've had it since I was 13. We've put a new body on it this year. Decided it was time to get rid of the old body. We tried to keep the same body on it, the body style of it, but trying to keep them so they're not looking like a box going around the track. But then the night we had the double features, I was running first, and the car got hot, and I wasn't bringing it in it when there's only 5 laps to go. Then cooked it, and then the second race that night, cooked it again, and it wasn't fun. It was a costly mistake, but good thing we had good sponsors.
Now, like you said, you had 5 laps to go, and looking back on it now, would you go back that night and do things differently, or would there's only 5 laps to go, would you have stayed out there anyway?
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years since I've won, since the Bandit class, I've won, so I was trying to get one, but front-wheel drive car got me, but...
Yeah. Now, talk to us about, this car here. When you say that you went out there and cooked it, does that mean, explain a little bit to me about what you mean by that?
When you cook an engine, it's basically, they get really hot. If you get them over 220, 225, it's time to bring them in, throw some water through the radiator, cool them down quick. I got that one up to 260. The gauge was pegged, and she just started losing power, breaking up, and when that happens, you normally gotta rebuild it. So.
Yeah. Is that what you guys had to do?
Well, we haven't yet. We just stole the engine out of my sister's car.
Okay. Well, it's good to have a backup there, right?
But yeah, gladly for me that she will quit racing on me. So.
Yeah. Now, talk to us about the outlook on the rest of the season here. We just had mid-season championships a couple weeks ago. Now we get into the summer stretch. I know you're itching to get into victory lane, and this car has certainly been fast enough to get you there. But what's it going to take to kick the door in?
It's going to take a lot of time and patience, because the patience is key with this car. Patience is key with the whole track. You get guys that are get in a hurry and think they can win on the first lap, and it doesn't happen like that. You just got to be patient and take your time to getting up through the field. Once you get about halfway, you can start moving up through the field.
Well, hopefully tonight's that night for you guys. Good luck tonight. Talk to us about some of the folks that help you out on the 6 car.
A couple of them is my dad and my grandfather. They're the biggest help of it. They're the ones that actually helped me build the car. Then I had the sponsors. I got Southern Finger Lakes equipment and the truck and the trailer, and then I got Bruce that races the number Orange 12. He come up and helped me quite a bit on it. You get a lot of guys that just they see a car that's been doing good, and you get guys that just want to help you out. I've had Run Right come up to me the other day, Run Right Construction Paving. They come up to me, and I got Never Enough Graphics by Larry States. He did a really nice job on the graphics.
Yeah. All right. You mentioned Bruce driving the 12 car. Early season had the points lead. Him and Dan Smart here have been battling it out there toward the top. But boy, he just can't buy a break these last couple of weeks. What's been going on with poor Bruce?
He's about like me. He's got a big target on his back.
Yeah.
A lot like me. A lot of guys don't like us because we can outrun them. We're both calm, and we don't let our tempers get to us. And that's a lot of problem with a lot of these guys. Their tempers get the best of them.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to give an inch on this track.
20 laps with these 4-cylinders, that's a long time around here.
Yeah, it is. It gets tiring after a while. You get some guys that get tired, like Bruce. He's an older guy. He gets tired.
Yeah. Well, man, good luck tonight. Hopefully, before 2016's out, we'll put this 6 car in victory lane. I know you guys want to get there real bad.
Yeah, I want to do it for my grandmother. She's not with us anymore, but I want to do it for her and my grandfather.
Well, good luck to you, man. Hopefully, you guys can put her in the lane tonight.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Zach Teed joining us here on Turn 5 Live. One of our driver interviews of the week. Let's send it back to Clint and Brad with the show.
Oh, there you have Zach Teed, driver of the 4-cylinder number 6. A nice interview there with one of the young drivers in the 4-cylinder division there on Friday nights. So nice sit down with him. We're going to step aside here. When we come back, we're going to talk to Shawn Bruce, driver of the 7-star in the Farmers Insurance IMCA Modifieds, now a 3-time winner in 2016. We'll talk to Bruce next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Brett Deo, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens, Clint Miller, joining you on the program tonight. And we are headed off to the RaceChaserOnline.com hotline, your motorsports, your way, every day. You can find it online at RaceChaserOnline.com. Shawn Bruce joining us on the hotline, fresh off a second victory in a row in the Farmers Insurance IMCA Modifieds at Outlaw Speedway. Shawn, welcome to the program. We really appreciate your time joining us tonight.
Oh, no problem. We're really glad to do
it. Shawn, I've had the pleasure of getting to see you in victory lane 3 times this season, and it's really, really a great story, a good, feel-good story talking to you guys. But before we get to 2016, I'd like to dive in a little bit about your racing career and how you started off before we get into 2016.
Well, back in the 80s, I actually started doing a little enduro racing, which got my foot in the door. First off, I'd been a race fan since I was just a kid. I've gone to the races and everything since I was just a kid and had it right in my blood. But after the enduro, we got a little more serious. Did some mini stock racing back in the mid and late 80s. Won 4 championships. Had the opportunity then to get a ride in a super stock, and we drove that for Reach Paving over at Woodhall. And a little bit at Dunhill. And then after just a year, he decided we were going to go super late racing. And so we ran a little bit of the UDTRA series and throughout Pennsylvania, Ohio, some in Kentucky, and up in New York State, we ran the super late shows up there, and did that for about 4 years, and at that time, my wife became terribly ill, and I had to quit racing for a while. 2009, decided it was time to get back in the seat full time, and we bought us our first IMCA from Rob Keller up in. He was a Brewerton driver.
Guy that has been around the sport for a while.
Oh yeah, we've had our laps, we've had our issues, and of course we ran steady from 2009 through 2012 in the IMCA Modified, and 13 we ran part of a season. 2014 we didn't run at all. 15 we ran twice, and the car's been sitting here fresh and ready to go, and the kid said, Dad, it's time to get this thing out. So we did, and boy, I'll tell you what, I just never would have guessed we've been having a successful season that we are.
Yeah, I mean, that was what struck me 2 weeks ago, Shawn. You know, I talked to you in Victory Lane, and I said, you know, with you guys getting back into the sport full time this year, you know, could you guys have even thought your expectation would have been 2 races to win, let alone picking up 1 victory? And you said not a chance. Well, now where's your mind at after winning 2 in a row and your 3rd on the season?
I just can't wait to get back to the track at this point. We're just having a ball. Of course, part of what I enjoy is just the camaraderie with the other drivers. My son will tell you, he's working on the car, and I'm off gabbing with the other guys usually. But the friendships that you make are pretty fantastic, as well as the racing. But I just hope that we can get a couple of more. I don't know how many more years I've got left in me.
And looking at the point race, I mean, now you're tied with Brad Smith for the point lead going into Friday night. Have you traditionally been a guy that just likes to go out and race for fun and win races, or do you guys look at the point race? I mean, being tied for the lead, I would imagine it's kind of hard not to look at the points right now.
You're exactly right. We had no intentions of being in any contention for points when we started out this season. I've got a heavy commitment on July 29th that normally wouldn't allow me to race, and I was just talking about that today, that if we're able to maintain a good spot in the points, we may have to do something different and make sure we get to the track. I have never won any kind of championship with the IMCA, and before I hang up my helmet, I think that would just be neat to do that once.
I mean, that would just cap the season for you guys. I mean, I think to the conversations you and I have had, and you know, boy, wouldn't that just cap off what's been a dream season for you and your boys this year?
Oh, you aren't kidding. And I'd have to attribute it to my boys, especially Nick, who's, 6 days a week working on the car. Usually either Saturday or Sunday he takes off. But, he's been working on the car all day today, getting it cleaned up, got it in the shop, up on stands, and going through everything, nut and bolting it while I've been off to work. So he's done some studying and reading, and in all the years I've drove IMCA at all the local tracks and out in Boone, Iowa, I've never had a car handle like it has the last couple of weeks.
And Clint, I think you wanted to step in here real quick.
Well, I just wanted to know if it would mean, obviously a championship, means more than anything to a race car driver, but would it be even more sweet if you were being able to beat Brad Smith to do it?
Oh, you aren't kidding. There's a little history between Brad Smith and I. Brad Smith is the young gun. Brad Smith used to be my crew chief on my super late model back in 2000, 2001, and 2.
Ah, so that's where the connection comes in then. So that's how we got all these nicknames going.
Yep, he's a gas man.
Yeah, Clint, I finally learned what that nickname was on Friday afternoon.
Well, do tell.
Yeah, that gas man nickname didn't come from putting fuel in the race car.
That's awesome.
I was waiting for it. There it is.
That came from some trips in the hauler on the way to the racetrack.
Oh, sorry, Brad. Your story's out now, brother.
I have a good time racing with him and all the guys at the track. I mean, they've raced me clean, and of course I make it a point to race them clean, and I've had a discussion with a couple of guys, and I do my best not to get upset on the racetrack because it doesn't get you anywhere, and making enemies is no fun either. So I'd rather talk about it if you do have an issue.
Oh, definitely. Now, Shawn, something you touched on too was traveling out to Boone to race in the Nationals. Have you guys raced it out there before? How many times have you been out?
We were out there in 2012. We actually did quite well. If we could pull out a championship, I'd like to try to come up with the funds to get back out there again this year and running the champions race.
Oh, definitely. So with that being, and I it kind of slips my mind from last season, but when does the Boone trip come up for you guys?
First week of September. Comes up over the holiday weekend.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, that would be pretty special. I mean, man, what a way to if you guys could continue to do well here. I know it's going to be a battle, with Brad, and you've got Tony Harris up there. Phil Yaws won a championship before. It's really been fun to watch this point race, and honestly, it's been fun to see a guy with a story like yourself that has been winning a couple of races here and just having a great time doing it. And talk to us about, I know you've got your son there wrenching on the car for you and everything. From what I understand, talking to you guys last couple of weeks, this is kind of a family-funded deal here.
Completely. Again, the car sat here pretty much ready to go, and the boys has got it around this year and said, Dad, we're going racing, and it's a good time with them. We get to go to the racetrack and enjoy ourselves and argue back and forth a little bit. And in the end, we're just happy to be on the racetrack again. And I can tell the kids like working on the car. The success that we're having, seeing them smile means a lot to me.
And looking ahead, Shawn, is that something that your current crew chief is looking at down the road in the future? Is steering wheel in his future?
I got a good idea that probably so. They are both pretty avid, been in the past avid go-kart drivers, both successful with that. The older boys won a championship with the carts. The other one's got some wins. The younger boy, the crew chief, has got some wins. And I think there's going to come a point where my back's just not going to take it pounding anymore, and I'm going to have to turn the wheel over to them, but not just yet, though.
Well, man, with the way you guys have been winning races this season, I'm sure that wouldn't be a real easy thing to do this year.
No, it's not going to happen this year. That driver's seat's still all mine.
Yeah. Well, man, congratulations on 2 in a row, going for 3 in a row this coming Friday night. And we really appreciate your time joining us on the program tonight, telling your great story. And, man, keep that momentum rolling. You guys have been really fun to watch this year.
Well, we're going to give it our best. Probably the best thing to do for us to keep that momentum rolling is just try to keep calm, go race, and have fun, and what happens, happens. And, one more thing I do want to add, though, before we let you go is I appreciate the warm welcome that I've been getting from the fans up there in Victory Lane. Not running that speedway a whole lot in the past years. I've been there a handful of times. A lot of them probably have no clue who I am or where I've been, and but the welcome that I get there in Victory Lane just means a lot.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Shawn, that is one reason why we wanted to have you on the show tonight, is because personally, that's how I've gotten to know you guys, is from talking to you in Victory Lane. I knew that there was a great story there, and I wanted to share that so badly with our fans here on the show, and I know there's a lot of fans at the racetrack that listen in every week too. So, again, appreciate the time, and keep that momentum rolling, my man.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, Shawn Bruce joining us on the RaceChaserOnline.com hotline. We're going to talk about their team and the role they've been on when we come back from break here with Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, and Clint Miller on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your number one source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be, with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Mills Family Racing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, here to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program tonight. And Clint, I'll tell you, Shawn Bruce, what an interview here tonight. I say this in the most respectful way possible. He's no rookie by any means behind the wheel. But let me tell you, he reminds me of, guys like Steve Payne, Danny Johnson, and then in the IMCAs, Dick in the Dirt Karlowski, Tony Harris. Shawn just reminds me of these guys that even as they're, getting toward maybe what's going to be the tail end of their careers, he's still got it behind the wheel, man. I mean, 3 wins in that division. I mean, any one of those IMCA cars could win on a given night. They've shown that even with car counts of, 12 to 14 cars on a weekly basis. There's a lot of good competition in that division, and Shawn they have just shined this year.
Yeah, they really have, and it's there's probably I would say 6 or 7 cars that can finish in the top 3 on any given night, and so that doesn't leave a lot of room for error. So a lot of these times it's the first one to the front, because there's so many cars that are so close that there's just no room for error.
Oh, you're absolutely right, and it's. I think it would be an awesome story if they could keep up on this momentum and close out a championship. And we were talking about the point race. I mean, right now Shawn is tied with Brad Smith with 214 points. Tony Harris only 3 points behind them, and Phil Yaw and Brandon Smith are tied for 4th with only 5 points back of the leaders. And so this point race is really going to be tight all the way to the end. Even Rich Karnowski only 16 points behind the leader and 11 points out of 5th. This is going to be very, very close. And the IMCA division, there's only 1 point per position. So this could the leader of the point race could change every single week based on the finish order. And you look at, Shawn Bruce, what a story that could be if he could close out the championship. Brad Smith, who we heard from earlier in the program, if he could close out that championship, what a story that would be for a guy who has been a constant supporter in the area of the IMCA class.
Yep.
And I don't know that he's got a championship under his belt or not in his travels the last couple seasons. I know not at Dundee, but boy, what a story that would be too. And even to Tony Harris. I mean, Tony's been a veteran, and he's been another very vocal supporter of the IMCA class in the last couple of years.
He's a pain in the ass.
Oh, sure. Tony knows that on occasion he can push my buttons, and I quite honestly push his buttons right back sometimes, and we get along great at the racetrack. But there again, there's another veteran. We saw Rich Karnowski win a championship a couple seasons ago, and I know that the championship maybe doesn't. I don't know that it has the luster that it used to have, Clint.
Oh, it does.
But I still say that you're right. I mean, some guys tell us that they don't feel like it does necessarily, and I don't know if that's because if they're just looking at the payday for a championship versus the actual prestige of it. But like you said, Clint, it still matters. It's still, and especially with these nationally sanctioned divisions, that can really be a big deal.
I just got word back from Brad, and he has not won a championship yet, and he said yes, it does matter. I think that the only guy that we really talked to, and I don't know about you, but I know for me, the only guy that I've really heard that really doesn't care whether he wins a championship or not is Dick in the Dirt. I mean, he's pretty vocal about that last year or 2 years ago or whatever it was at the banquet, but I just feel that, these guys run that's why you run every week. You run every week to win the class, and and it just with all the top-notch cars out there, it makes it real tough. So if you're able to do it, it makes it that much better.
Yeah, absolutely. So great catching up with him tonight, as well as Brad Smith, and I think there could be a lot of great stories no matter how this thing shakes out here at the end of the season. And really, it is truly anybody's race right now in the top 5. Karnowski's got a little work to do, being 16 points back. But like I said, if any of these top runners have a bad night or a couple of bad nights, Karnowski's right back in this thing.
Well, we've seen Dick in the Dirt wheel off 3 or 4 wins in a row.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't be a surprise to anybody if he was able to do that. And then you get a couple guys out there that don't finish well. Like you said, it takes 1 or 2 bad nights.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun to watch, and we'll certainly keep our eyes glued to that. one thing, Clint, I know you're going to be taking off here before the next segment, but a couple of guys have asked today, and we did get some answers on this. Friday night at Outlaw Speedway, it'll be a regular program, all divisions in competition. It's also driver autograph night, sponsored by Pepsi. But a lot of guys wanted to know, and I honestly, I have to kind of compare some schedules here, Clint, because it kind of went over my head a little bit. On our schedule on the Outlaw website, we had an omission of being the Fight Night All-Star Series event on Friday night at Outlaw. And indeed, it is a Fight Night Street Stock Series event on Friday at Outlaw. I'm not sure how we got mixed up there with the schedule.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, to be honest with you. And I had to look at a couple different other avenues to find out if that was the case or not. And it's on the it's on the Grit website, and it's on so obviously this isn't a call up and say, oh, by the way, we're going to have a Fight Night race Friday night. Obviously it was overlooked somewhere along the line.
Yeah, so I reached out to all of the powers that be over at Outlaw, and indeed it is going to be a Fight Night Series event there on Friday night. It'll be show-up points, and with the Fight Night Series in town, that also makes it $75 to start, a minimum of $500 to win, although there's a chance that it may be higher than that, depending on how a few things fall into place. I know they were talking about having some folks coming on board for that event, so there may be more prize money in the works there, but at minimum $500 to win, just like it is weekly at Outlaw Speedway. So stay tuned for more information on that. But again, it is a Fight Night Series event, and it will be show-up points for the street stocks in the division. So there, with the folks that participate, there will be, essentially no change in the point race there. And quite honestly, Chuck Winslow has been making it his own little playground there as he goes into Friday night's action with let's take a look here, a 34-point lead, which, with the current point structure is a pretty surmountable lead. Certainly that could all go away with one bad night and a CJ Guerry win, but it gets further and further back. Laverne Knickerbocker, Nate Daggett, 47 and 48 points back, and now 98 points back to Jared Hill in the 93. So that's what.
Yeah, and who knows? With Jared, we want to send along our our best wishes to him and Jamie, who've been in and out of the hospital this last weekend with just checking up on Baby Hill and making sure everything's all right with them. And Jared, not sure when he's going to be back at the track. Hopefully it's Friday night, but I guess time will tell. But best wishes to them guys. Family's always first.
Oh, no doubt about it. And that was a great point. And kind of along those same lines, Clint, we didn't mention it earlier tonight, but I want to mention it now. Over the weekend, both Outlaw Speedway and Woodhull Raceway doing Pass the Hat collections and doing some other various things for the higher family at the racetrack this weekend. But Friday night at Outlaw Speedway, $1,160 raised by the drivers that came over and did the Pass the Helmet for the higher family. So that was awesome on Friday night. Saturday night, between the fans, officials, and teams that donated, $1,513.98 raised in a Pass the Helmet on Saturday night over at the High Banks. So awesome job to all the fans involved at both places. The mini stocks did a 4-wide salute led by Ray Heyer before their 20-lap feature event on Saturday night, and we've got video of that up on the Woodhull Raceway Facebook page, facebook.com/Woodhull Raceway. And you can see the video of that, and a lot of people have been checking that video out this past weekend. We've just been getting some astronomical numbers on that, and for good reason. That was really something special to see. there on Saturday. And Clint, it's just one of those things that, racers taking care of their own.
Yeah, racing, we've said it from day one on this show. It's kind of been what we've always gone with. Racing is a family of its own, and we try to take care of each other whenever possible.
No doubt about it. Clint, appreciate your time joining us tonight. Good luck to you as you head off to the night shift, as they say.
Yeah, night shift. Yep, night court.
Good luck to you, man. We'll catch up with you next Tuesday.
You got it. We'll be here.
All right, we'll step aside. Brad Ovens and I will come back from break. We'll talk Woodhall Raceway. We'll talk Canandaigua. And we'll go through some highlights of ESS Speed Week as well as the Patriot Sprint Tour Western Swing as they were out at several tracks out west. And we'll do it next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
Hi race fans, this is Mel Thomas from Thomas Video, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Mel Thomas bringing us back from commercial break. Got a lot of racing on tap for the Thomas boys as they are out at Accord videoing the Short Track Super Series event. There, the battle at the Bull Ring. And just a quick update from the battle at the Bull Ring. Just got word that Tyler Seary won the Consi at Accord. So he'll be making his way into the battle of the Bull Ring. So obviously we'll send out some good luck wishes out to the owner and promoter of Outlaw Speedway as he takes on the Short Track Super Series field out there at Accord. So we'll do that. But we'll get into some Woodhall Raceway results from Saturday night, and it was a big night on the high banks, and almost a big night for a sophomore sensation. Dylan Groover was just inches away from victory on Saturday night, ran down Billy Van Pelt with about 10 laps to go, and was working the outside like nobody else was on Saturday night. Reeled in Van Pelt, and again, just short by inches on Saturday. Call coming right right there down on the track Saturday. And Van Pelt picked up his second win of the season. Groover had to settle for second, and I'll tell you, that first career modified win is not far off for Dylan Groover. He was, I saw somebody on social media saying that he needed 2 more laps last Saturday. Well, frankly, I don't think he needed 2 laps at all. He needed maybe a lap, maybe even half a lap, and he probably would have cleared Van Pelt for the win. But again, that's why they say we always race to the checkered flag. So Groover was second, Donnie Lawson was third, Eric Fisher fourth, Corey Costa the top 5. 6 through 10 was Mike Bills, Frank Dunning, Brady Foltz, Kenny Peoples Jr., and Bob Davis. Napa Crate Sportsman, 22 cars in attendance, 25-lap feature event there. And A.J. Costley picked up his first win of the season, took the lead as the field was coming down to Scott Lyons' white flag. He got the win. Stacy Jackson led out front from the entire event up until the last 2 laps when Costley got by. Josh Kesey finished third, Dayton Brewer fourth, Tim Guild the top 5. 6 through 10, another good run for Brandon Martin in the 43 TO. Mike Jackson was 7th. Scott Lehman was, and actually that's not Scott Lehman, that should be David Mayo finishing in the 8th spot. Chris Doherty 9th, and Colin Brown the top 10. Moving on to the SWL Awards 360 late models, 11 cars there on Saturday night. Glenn Reitner got back into victory lane. His second victory of 2016, got the win over Steve LeBaron, Jason McGregor, Carl Hughes, and Kurt Stebbins, the top 5. Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks, 16 cars in attendance. Brett Marlatt debuted his brand new Nitro, the number 99, picked up the victory. Teddy Morseman ran second, getting around Glenn Reitner with just a couple laps to go. In the 15, Kurt Stebbins was 4th. Jared Dennis, a top 5 finish. Following him was Trevor Tompkins, a great run for that 03 car in 6th. Tracy Dunn 7th, Zane King Jr. 8th, Dan Gardner 9th, Dylan Cece recovering from a flat tire, and some pretty heavy contact on the 7 car, finished in the top 10. Doherty Auto Sales mini stocks from Saturday night, 17 cars in attendance, and Chris Woodard lost the lead on lap 14 to Ron Daly Jr., took it right back on lap 15, and got his 4th win of the season. Ron Daly Jr. was 2nd. Brian Grant Jr. was 3rd after an early problem on the 46. Rick Ammett on 4th. Carl Bourne from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, your top 5. Jeffrey Doherty, Mike Stone, John Hand Jr., Corky Grant, and Chip Warner rounded out your top 10 finishers. And then in the Woodhull Auto Supply front-wheel drives, 13 cars for 20 laps, and Sean Gleason got his 3rd win of the season after Dave Richmond led laps 2 to 15. Gleason worked and worked and worked to get by Richmond to get the lead. Finally did so with 4 laps to go. Gleason got his 3rd win of the season and will break the tie now, as he will now be ahead of Cody Baker for the point lead. Baker was 2nd, Dave Richmond was 3rd, Matt Prescott 4th, Ron Hill the top 5. 6 through 10, Adam Del Grosso, Jay McConnell, Jordan Kiefer, Robert Haynes, and Joe Gillespie. That was the action from the Woodhull Raceway on Saturday night. Pretty awesome night of racing out on the high banks. Again, that modified finish will go down as one of the closest in recent memory on the high banks at Woodhull. We'll now move ourselves on to results from Canandaigua on Saturday night. Peter Britton, native of Australia, made it two on the year in 2016. He picked up the victory in the modified division. He got the win over Matt Shepard, Tim Fuller. Again, those 2 cars, your top 2 from the Thursday night Super Dirt Car Series event. Justin Hares, Billy Decker, the top 5. Then it was Giltag Jr., Steve Payne, Gary Tompkins, Matt Williamson, and Alan Johnson. Moving on to the Sportsman division, Ricky Newton, 3rd win of the season In the Crate Sportsman, he got the win over Rob Bussey, James Sweeting, A.J. Lloyd, and Kane Bristol. 6 through 10 was Nick Guerry, Jeff DeVoli, Dave Marcacelli, Tyler Meeks, and the G-Man, Paul Guerry. On to the Crate Late Models, and Chad Homan picked up the victory. Another victory for Homan in the number 91. He got the win over Steve Pisaric, Frank Guerry Jr., and Val Stevens. 305 sprint cars, 4 cars in attendance there, and 12-lap feature event, Eric Carlson, another victory at the Land of Legends over Dan Crown, Tim Smith, and David French. Street Stock Pure Stocks, Mr. Smooth, Mark Minutlo, got another Pure Stock win. Mike Welch was the Street Stock winner in the division. The rest of the top 5 there was Jason Doty, Blaine Smith, and Parker Smith. So that the action from the Canandaigua Motorsports Park. Coming up this Saturday, July 9th, CMP will host another regular night of racing. Their race card will include the Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds, the Sportsman, New Legend Sportsman, 305 Sprint Cars, and the combined Open Street Stock Pure Stock division. Race time is 7 p.m. Also to be added is a special enduro race. So keep your eyes on the Canandaigua Motorsports Park website for that information. We were talking about Woodhull coming up Saturday night at the Woodhull Raceway. It's Christmas in July with their annual bicycle giveaway. And also following that Christmas in July theme, Brad, we're going to be doing an ugly Christmas sweater competition for the fans in attendance on Saturday night. So grab your ugly Christmas sweaters, grab your Christmas stocking, and come on out to the Woodhull Raceway on Saturday night. We will be judging the top 3 finishers in the ugly sweater contest. So
you have to be wearing it?
Oh yeah. You can't just make one and bring it. You got to wear it. You got to own it.
Oh, it's gonna be warm.
Well, it'll come with a complimentary bottle of water. How's that sound?
You're gonna have to want that win.
Oh yeah. You definitely gonna have to want it. Just like the drivers out on the track are gonna want it too. So again, that's coming up Saturday. And then this coming Friday again, Pepsi presents Autograph Night at the Outlaw Speedway. The drivers will have their cars down on the front stretch for Autograph Night. Your chance to check out the cars up close and personal before the racing program starts off. Going to be a great night. Pepsi just signing on with a multi-year deal there at Outlaw Speedway and picking up the sponsorship of Autograph Night. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And again, the Fight Night Street Stock Series will be in attendance, $75 to start, $500 to win at minimum. And that will be a draw-redraw show, and it will be show-up points for Outlaw Speedway. So anybody in attendance will receive show-up points for supporting the show. Brad, we're going to step aside. We're going to take our final break of the night. When we come back, White Flag coming out here for this week's episode of Turn 5 Live. And we will cap it off tonight by doing a quick review of the Empire Super Sprint CNY Speed Week, as well as taking a look at this past weekend's Bonnell's Collision Center Western Weekend Championship for the Patriot Sprint Tour. Wings and Things next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Matt Shepard, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Super Matt Shepard bringing us back from commercial break. Super Matt looking to try and pick up another victory on the Super Dirt Car Series. Won Sunday night at Utica, Rome. Going to try and do it again tomorrow night at the Big Show at Albany, Saratoga. Again, the Big Show 8 being promoted by Brett Hearn. And, Shepard taking in a 39-point advantage into tomorrow night's show at the Albany Saratoga Speedway. So not going to want to miss out on that. Brad, we're wrapping things up tonight with sprint cars, of all things, wings and things here on Turn 5 Live, and we're going to go right into CNY Speed Week for the Empire Super Sprints, sponsored by Lucas Oil Products. And taking away the victory on night number 1 last week at Brewerton was Mike Mahaney, driving the number 33, owned by Doug Emery. And Mahaney picked up the $2,000 win there on Wednesday night. Danny Varon had a great second-place effort there. Steve Poirier was third. Sammy Reeks, the fourth, was fourth. Mark Smith, the top 5, followed by Chuck Hebing, Larry White, Mitch Brown, Paul Kinney, and Justin Barger, the top 10 finishers.
Guess how many starts Mike Mahaney has in a 360 sprint?
I'm going to say 5.
As of Brewerton, 1.
He's got a few more than that.
Maybe. Maybe it was his first Speed Weeks, but...
I'm guessing it was Speed Week.
His first... Maybe it was just his first race with Emery. I'm not sure.
He had a couple of races last year. I think they were like I-88 Thunder Mountain tracks that he had raced at with the modified weekly. But this probably was, you're probably right, Brad, this probably was his first Speed Week start. Yeah.
Yep.
So, good job there. And I'll tell you, Brad, we talk about drivers that, jump into quality rides and go out and get it done. That Doug Emery car, that 33, they have really put some potent drivers in it over the years. Even thinking back to when Jessica Zemkin got her start in a sprint car. They've really put some good drivers behind the wheel, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Mahaney took the win on night number 1. Night number 2 was at Canandaigua Motorsports Park on Thursday night. And picking up the win there was Matt Tanner. And Tanner was dominant on Thursday night. I don't think anybody had anything for him other than maybe Jason Barney. Jason Barney was fast, very fast, but got caught up in some lap traffic, and that allowed Tanner to kind of pull away. There at the end, Steve Poirier was 3rd, Chuck Hebing 4th, Darryl Ruggles, a good run there for the 48 Junior, finishing in the top 5. Mark Smith, Sammy Reeks the 4th, Larry White, Brian Howland, and Alicia Ruggles. A nice top 10 run there for Alicia, getting back behind the wheel of the 48A. So that was the top 10 from Canandaigua for Donath Motor Works CNY Speed Week. Moving on to the next night. That was supposed to be Friday night at Can-Am, and that was canceled. So that event canceled. So the next one went to Saturday night at the Fulton Speedway. And picking up the victory at Fulton was none other than Fireball. Steve Poirier got the win over Chuck Hebing, finished 2nd. Jason Barney, a nice, solid, good effort there for 3rd. Brian Howland 4th. Larry White the top 5. Paul Kinney, Danny Varon, Sean Donath, Parker Evans, and Matt Tanner, your top 10 finishers there from Fulton. And then they all capped it off Sunday night at the Utica Rome Speedway. And picking up the victory, they had top 5 runs all week long. Finally put it together on Sunday night at a track that he knows very, very well. Jason Barney picked up the win and took home $2,100 for his efforts. Danny Varon was 2nd. Brian Howland 3rd, Larry White 4th, and Chuck Hebing, another top 5 run for the 45 car. 6 or 10 was Matt Tanner, Steve Poirier, Mike Mahaney, Corey Sparks, and Jonathan Preston. Your top 10 at Utica Rome. And picking up the CNY Speed Week victory for the entire week-long champion, that was none other than Steve Poirier, the Fireball, taking it for the 2nd consecutive year. And Brad, I can't say that seeing Poirier win Speed Week for the 2nd year in a row was too much of a shock. That is just a very, very potent team.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. The beginning of the year, they weren't even sure how much of the tour and the traveling they were going to do. Just trying to cut back, and he's got his daughters playing some more school sports now, and wanting to do some more at home, and the budgets aren't quite what they used to be, so he made the comments that they're going to kind of see how the year goes, and if they're in the points and they're right there at the top of the heap, then they're going to maybe keep going, but I don't see any time of these guys slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. No doubt about it there. Then as we move on to the Patriot Sprint Tour, it was the Bonnell's Western Swing for the Patriot Sprint Tour, and it was really fun to follow these guys this week as they kind of went through, their started out at Little Valley on Friday night. Again, this Bonnell's Western weekend. Night number 1, Davey Franek picked up the win. Jared Zimbardi was 2nd, and I understand that this was an incredible race from Friday at Little Valley between Franek and Zimbardi. Mark Smith was 3rd, Scott Kruger 4th, Kyle Drum the top 5, George Suprick, Steve Collins, Paulie Colagiovanni, Jimmy Stitzel, and Paul Habeck, the top 10 there at Little Valley. Then when we move on to the next night, Bonnell's Western Weekend, night number 2 at Mercer Raceway Park, Kyle Drum, 2nd victory of the season, got the win over Jared Zimbardi, another 2nd place finish. Dennis Wagner, Mitch Brown, Steve Collins, the top 5. Then it was Joe Tranca, Paulie Colagiovanni, C.J. Jones, Davey Franek, and Scott Kruger, the top 10 there at Mercer for night number 2. Then the final night of competition for the Bonnells Western Weekend, and it was Mark Smith picking up the victory at Irias Speedway. Kyle Drum wins the Western Weekend Championship, but Mark Smith got the win on Sunday. Davey Franek was second, Scott Kruder third, Kyle Drum fourth, Mitch Brown the top five, Jake Brown, Paulie Cole Giovanni, Jake Mensch, Dane Nada, and Gary Edwards. Your top 10 there from the final night of Bonnells Western Weekend. And so congratulations to Kyle Drum on picking up the Western Weekend Championship. A great run for them. I know they haven't done the entire Patriot Sprint Tour this season, but they've certainly been strong when they have been competing, picking up the Bonnells Western Weekend Championship. Brad, the CRSA 305 sprints were also in competition. Why don't you tell us all about Fonda? And we'll bring Brad back in here in just a second to tell us about the finishes there from Fonda. The CRSA Tour, they were scheduled to be at I-88 on Friday night, and that was rained out. But they headed to Fonda on Saturday, Brad, and why don't you tell us how things ended up there at Fonda?
Yeah, we traveled down to the Fonda Speedway in Fonda, New York. Had 22 cars show up, which is pretty good. A great turnout for us this year with the 305 sprints. So I think we've averaged somewhere between 18 to 20, 22, 24 cars per show that we've had this year, which is really outstanding as far as some of the numbers compared to some of the other bigger tours. So Heat 1 was won by Mike Kaiser, who was always a threat when we go to the big tracks. High speed, Mike's always there on top of it. Josh, and I have to apologize to Josh, I'm going to butcher this last name here, Pieniazek, won Heat number 2 for us. And Corey Sparks making his another appearance with a 305, won Heat number 3. We're going to head towards the 20-lap feature, and I'll tell you what, we had another barn burner of a feature. Corey Sparks ended up coming away with a win. Brian Crummell with another top 5 finish. Strong second-place finish for Brian. We had a late race caution that I think if we'd had avoided that caution late in the race, I think we would have had another side-by-side pass-for-pass finish. Josh Pieniazek came home 3rd, Kyle Smith 4th, Mike Kaiser rounded out the top 5, Eddie Strada, Billy Van Inwigen Jr., Jeff Trombley, Dustin Purdy, and Emily Van Inwigen rounded out your top 10. The Powder Tech Coatings Hard Charger Award, $25 each week. Powder Tech Coatings Hard Charger Award came on board, $25 per race with us for the rest of our season. Emily Van Inwigen picked up that $25 bonus coming from 17th place to 10th place. Supergen Products, our title sponsor for the CRSA Sprints, donated us 2 generators, 1 small generator for a fan that won after the race. We did our redraw with little foam footballs that all the drivers signed their names and numbers to, and then the drivers had a random football that they took into the grandstands and passed along to a fan. And the winning driver, Corey Sparks, this is Corey Sparks football, won this fan her generator, as well as drew a random number for the big generator for the drivers. Dalton Herrick finished 17th place, and the winner of the fan generator picked number 17, so Dalton was the winner of that generator, courtesy of Supergen Products Champion Generators. And Your Way Cafe of Schoharie, New York, $100 bonus to the 5th place finisher went to Mike Kaiser. You know, we had a really good, strong 20-lap feature. Had a couple cautions, a couple little minor get-togethers, nothing big, no cars wrecked. Just a really, really good race. I don't think it can quite compare to our Utica Rome race that we had a couple weekends ago, but, man, I'll tell you what, these 305 guys put just as much heart and passion as anybody else here on the racetracks that I've seen.
And it sounds like these guys are putting on just as good a show as these 360 traveling tours, man. It seems like it's been really, really good racing across the board.
It's unreal, the amount of competition that there is, how close these guys are as far as levels of driving, Corey Sparks, obviously he had a good, strong top 5 run or top 10 finish with ESS at the Speed Weeks at Utica Rome. He actually was, I think, our 2nd or 3rd place finisher at our Utica Rome race that he ran so well at. So it's kind of cool to see these guys bounce back and forth between the 360s and the 305s. And we're gaining some new faces. We've got some new people coming along. We had a couple new cars at Fonda, and I'll tell you, these guys are just putting on one whale of a show, passing left and right, high, low, up, down, making slide jobs. It's exciting to watch.
What do we have coming up in the next couple weeks? I believe I saw in the next couple weeks they're going to be headed down here in the Southern Tier to 5 Mile Point.
We head down to the hard clay, back down to the Middletown Orange County Fair Speedway this coming Saturday. Gonna make the long trip down from Newark, New York, this coming Saturday for another round. I believe it's our 3rd round of 5 here at the on the hard clay, and then the following Saturday night we make our trip back down to the 5 Mile Point to do competition down there in Kirkwood.
All right, very good, man. Appreciate the CRSA update, and we'll have more of those updates throughout the season as the season begins to wind down.
Yeah, absolutely. And July 30th, we're going to be back in our Your and I home track here in Outlaw Speedway. So, if you want some good 305 action, make sure you come on out.
Very good. Well, guys, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. Want to thank Brad Smith, Zach Teed, as well as Shawn Bruce for being on the program. And we want to thank all you fans for listening in tonight, whether you listen live or listen to us on the YouTube page. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back next Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. for another edition of Turn 5 Live right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Turn 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners. Thank you for listening to Turn 5 Live. You can listen to Turn 5 Live every Tuesday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned for more great PMN programming.